Hello friends and welcome to LaRosa Reads. I'm Denise LaRosa and today I would like to spotlight 12 classics by 12 Black authors. Let's talk books. Happy Black History Month, friends. Every month is an opportunity to celebrate a variety of cultures, all of which have painted the fabric of America and made us who we are, have contributed to this country and the world at large. And so even though this is something that a practice that I engage in, celebrating my Black roots, my Black culture, every single month, I want to give a special shout out and spotlight to 12 classics by 12 Black authors. One of my goals for 2023 is to read more classic books, and I wanted to do this with intentionality. I've decided to do that by reading classics by Black authors, and I am super excited and a little embarrassed, to be honest with you, that these are books that I haven't read. I feel like I'm a well-read Black woman who reads a lot about Black history, Black culture, books that are relevant to our culture, but I feel like I'm losing my Black card. It's getting revoked right now, but here we go. My goal is to read The Street by Ann Petry this year. It's a book that I have not been privy to until recently, I'm embarrassed to say, but listen to this synopsis, you guys. The Street tells the poignant, often heartbreaking story of Ludi Johnson, a young Black woman and her spirited struggle to raise her son amid the violence, poverty, and racial dissonance of Harlem in the late 1940s. Originally published in 1946 and hailed by critics as a masterwork, The Street was Ann Petry's first novel, a beloved bestseller with more than 1 million copies in print. Its haunting tale still resonates today. I cannot wait to read The Street. Next up, we have Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. This book has been adapted into a series, I believe, through Fox. I'm excited to watch that series, but your girl loves to read before she watches. So here's the synopsis for Kindred. The first science fiction written by a Black woman, Kindred has become a cornerstone of Black American literature. This combination of slave memoir, fantasy, and historical fiction is a novel of rich literary complexity. Having just celebrated her 26th birthday in 1976 California, Dana, an African-American woman, is suddenly and inexplicably wrenched through time into antebellum Maryland. After saving a drowning white boy there, she finds herself staring into the barrel of a shotgun and is transported back to the present just in time to save her life. During numerous such time-defying episodes with the same young man, she realizes the challenge she's been given. Wow. Okay. I have read Parable of the Sower, and I know Octavia E. Butler delivers. I cannot wait to read this first science fiction work by a Black woman. And then there's the incomparable, legendary Toni Morrison and The Bluest Eye. This is a book that is being read by students at the school where I am employed, and it's one that I really look forward to reading here at home and also at work to continue to support the work of lifting up Black figures in the literary world. Toni Morrison is an author whom I'm not as closely connected to as I would like to be, and I'm hoping that reading The Bluest Eye will just offer that opportunity. I cannot wait. And I'm aware of what this book is about. I have read it, snippets of it. I don't remember if I finished it for various reasons, but it is worth lifting up here. And here's the synopsis. Pecola Breedlove, a young Black girl, prays every day for beauty. Mocked by other children for her dark skin, curly hair, and brown eyes that set her apart, she yearns for the blonde hair and blue eyes that she believes will allow her to finally fit in. Yet, as her dream grows more fervent, her life slowly starts to disintegrate in the face of adversity and strife. A brilliant examination of our obsession with beauty and conformity, Toni Morrison's first novel asks powerful questions about race, class, and gender with the subtlety and grace that have always characterized her writing. We have colorism, we have classism, we have racism, we have some trigger warnings about sexual abuse, and it is just so full of so many layers just in this. Like, look at this. This is not a thick book, but there's so much here that is worth my attention, and I cannot wait to read The Bluest Eye. Next, we have a book that I started reading last year and have not finished yet, but plan to this year, and it is Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. I have to tell you all that this book that I'm also reading for work and also for myself is one that is very heavy, and it's a thick book. I believe it is 581 pages to be exact, and it's so heavy for anyone reading it, particularly a Black person, that I had to put it down. This is not one that I can read in one fell swoop, but here's the synopsis of Invisible Man. First published in 1952 and immediately hailed as a masterpiece, Invisible Man is one of those rare novels that have changed the shape of American literature. For not only does Ralph Ellison's nightmare journey across the racial divide tell unparalleled truths about the nature of bigotry and its effects on the minds of both victims and perpetrators, it gives us an entirely new model of what a novel can be. As he journeys from the Deep South to the streets and basements of Harlem, from a horrifying battle royale where Black men are reduced to fighting animals, to a communist rally where they are elevated to the status of trophies, Ralph Ellison's nameless protagonist ushers readers into a parallel universe that throws our own into harsh and even hilarious relief, suspenseful and sardonic, narrated in a voice that takes in the symphonic range of the American language, Black and white. Invisible Man is one of the most audacious and dazzling novels of our century. I'm not that far into it, and I can concur already. Invisible Man is a book I definitely look forward to finishing. Then we have Devil in a Blue Dress. Now, I watched this movie because fine Denzel Washington was starring in it many, many years ago. And although I watched the movie first, which isn't typically the way I do things, I definitely want to read Walter Mosley's classic work. I think it's an important read for me. And so, if you don't know, here is the synopsis of Devil in a Blue Dress. In Los Angeles in the 1940s, Easy Rawlings, a Black war veteran, has just been fired from his job at a defense plant. Easy is drinking in a friend's bar, wondering how he'll meet his mortgage, when a white man in a linen suit walks in, offering good money if Easy will simply locate Miss Daphne Monet, a blonde beauty known to frequent Black jazz clubs. I'm telling you, I'm actually glad that I watched the movie first because I can just imagine Denzel in this role. Let's get it. A Devil in a Blue Dress. The Watsons Go to Birmingham. This is a book that I have been wanting to read for eons. I don't know what's prevented me from reading it, but now is the time. This book is written by Christopher Paul Curtis, and here we go. This is an important topic. Enter the hilarious world of 10-year-old Kenny and his family, the Weird Watsons of Flint, Michigan. There's Mama, Dad, little sister Joetta, and brother Byron, who's 13 and an official juvenile delinquent. When Mama and Dad decide it's time for a visit to Grandma, Dad comes home with the amazing Ultra Glide, and the Watsons set out on a trip like no other. They're heading south to Birmingham, Alabama, toward one of the darkest moments in American history. I can't wait to read this book. I'm excited to share that experience with you. The Watsons Go to Birmingham is one to read for sure. James Baldwin. I have read only one James Baldwin book. I have not read If Beale Street Could Talk, but I definitely want to this year. And it's also another book that has been adapted into a film or a series. So I think I'm doing a lot of book reading and film watching this year. With If Beale Street Could Talk, we have an honest and stunning novel, and it's a moving story of love in the face of injustice told through the eyes of Tish, a 19-year-old girl in love with Fonnie, a young sculptor who is the father of her child. Baldwin's story mixes the sweet and the sad, as he so beautifully does. Tish and Fonnie have pledged to get married, but Fonnie is falsely accused of a terrible crime and imprisoned. Their family set out to clear his name, and as they face an uncertain future, the young lovers experience a kaleidoscope of emotions, despair, and hope. In a love story that evokes the blues, where passion and sadness are inevitably intertwined, Baldwin has created two characters so alive and profoundly realized that they are unforgettably ingrained in the American psyche. Oh, this just sounds delicious. I can't wait to read it. I have this book on audiobook, The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois. I am a lover of his written word, his thoughts. He is such an intellectual that he is, quite frankly, an intellectual whom I admire and am inspired by. So this is really at the heart of who he is, The Souls of Black Folk. I cannot wait to listen to this. It is a landmark book, and it is the founding work in the literature of Black protest. W.E.B. Du Bois played a key role in developing the strategy and program that dominated early 20th century Black protest in America. And in this collection of essays, first published together in 1903, he eloquently affirms that it is beneath the dignity of a human being to beg for those rights that belong inherently to all mankind. He also charges that the strategy of accommodation to white supremacy advanced by Booker T. Washington, then the most influential Black leader in America, would only serve to perpetuate Black oppression. So, The Souls of Black Folk was a dramatic event that helped to polarize Black leaders into two groups: the more conservative followers of Washington and the more radical supporters of W.E.B. Du Bois and of aggressive protest. Its influence cannot be overstated. It is essential reading for anyone and everyone interested in African American history and the struggle for civil rights in America. That would be me, y'all. So I can't wait to read The Souls of Black Folk. Langston Hughes, Oh How I Love You. Not Without Laughter is a book that I have yet to read but hope to read this year. Here is the synopsis. Although best known as a poet and pioneer of the Harlem Renaissance movement, Langston Hughes proves himself one of the modern literature's most revered and versatile African-American authors with Not Without Laughter, a powerful classic novel. This is a moving portrait of African-American family life in 1930s Kansas, following young Sandy Rogers as he comes of age. Sandy's mother, Angie, works as a housekeeper for a rich white family while his father traverses the country in search of work. Not Without Laughter is a moving examination of growing up in a racially divided society. A rich and important work, Hughes definitely echoes the Black American experience with this novel. Wallace Thurman is the author of The Blacker the Berry. I am looking forward to reading this book, which is about the following. The Blacker the Berry was the first novel to openly explore prejudice within the Black community, also known as colorism. This pioneering novel found a way beyond the bondage of Blackness in American life to a new meaning in truth and beauty. Emma Lou Brown's dark complexion is a source of sorrow and humiliation, not only to herself, but to her lighter-skinned family and friends, and to the white community of Boise, Idaho, her hometown. As a young woman, Emma travels to New York's Harlem, hoping to find a safe haven in the Black Mecca of the 1920s. Wallace Thurman recreates this legendary time and place in rich detail, describing Emma's visits to nightclubs and dance halls and house rent parties, her sex life and her catastrophic love affairs, her dreams and her dissolutions, and the momentous decisions she makes in order to survive. So yeah, this is a book that I came across but haven't really heard that much about, and I think that it's going to be an enriching experience for me. I cannot wait to read The Blacker the Berry. I feel like I cannot wait to read all of these, so let me just stop saying that. Yeah, let's do that. Bell Hooks. Oh my goodness, how I love me some Bell Hooks. Ain't I a Woman is a book that has been on my to-read list for quite some time, and I'm just ready to get into it. I'm ready to dive in. This is a groundbreaking work of feminist history and theory analyzing the complex relations between various forms of oppression. Ain't I a Woman examines the impact of sexism on Black women during enslavement, the historic devaluation of Black womanhood, Black male sexism, racism within recent women's movement, and Black women's involvement with feminism. We have to think of intersectionality, and being Black and being a woman is really an interesting, profound space to be, those two identifiers throughout the course of American history. It is really important that for me as a Black woman, I read this book. I'm looking forward to it. And last but not least, I want to continue reading from the incomparable, incredible Pittsburgher August Wilson and his collection of plays, and specifically, I have read Fences. I love The Century Cycle, this collection of plays that are just so brilliantly done. The concept in and of itself is brilliant. And Fences is one that I should have read a long time ago, and it took me until 2023 to read it. I read it earlier this month, and you'll have to wait until my January wrap-up to see exactly what I think about it. It is taking place in the late 50s, early 60s. We have this Black man, who is a husband and a father. He works for the trash truck. He works on the trucks, and he has this wife. He has 2 sons, and he's just really at a crossroads. He's trying to understand this new wave of rebellion and this new way of thinking from the younger generation of Black people. And also his wife is kind of at this place where she is just exploring and really trying to examine her life. And he's struggling with all of this. He's struggling in how he perceives himself. And it is truly riveting. I loved every word. It is amazing. I can't wait to talk to you about Fences. All right, you guys, those are the 12 classics by 12 Black authors that I hope to read. I also want you to check out the video I did for Black History Month last year, sharing with you my top 3 favorite Black reads that are connected to Black history. Check that out by looking at the video, which is right here. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.